17 minutes in front of 9 o'clock, and we've got our guest, Danette Turner, who is here, and she is Miss Petite USA.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing well.
Now, this is a little bit of a different title than what I have heard of before, but I did some research on this.
Interesting.
And I have found out that this is for folks who are 5'6" and under, because 5'7" is where most pageants have height requirements.
I am
correct?
so proud of you.
Yeah, I was
you
like,
did some research.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I've got to find out what this actually means. So that is how that this part of it works. How did you get into this?
So I was just scrolling on Facebook one day after my daughter, who is 8 years old, Sahila London, she actually won the Miss 8th of August in Paducah, Kentucky last year.
Okay.
And that was my inspiration. Like, hey, I'm not done yet. I've been a pageant baby all my life. Entered and won a few pageants, and just was inspired by her.
Sure.
And I was just scrolling on Facebook, and here's the US Petite page that just pops up with an ad, and I was like, okay. I applied for it, and because in each state they don't typically have a competition like a pageant, not all the states, so they have a committee that makes that decision based on your application and what you've been doing in your community. So it's like a 10-page document that you're filling out for 20 minutes or so. And then you get a notification like, hey, you're in the semifinals. And then they meet again, and then they decide who will represent that state in that category. So there are 5 different categories in the Petite USA organization, and so I'm in the Misses because I'm married.
Okay.
So I'm Mrs. Kentucky Petite, and I'll be representing the entire state in July in Chicago, Illinois, for the national pageant.
Wow, that's really something else. And you've got your crown with you, as well as your sash.
Yes, sir.
I used to be the MC of the Miss Tater Day pageant here in Benton. So
interesting.
I know a little bit of the lingo because I used to do that. So and
Lovely.
one of our sponsors here, Mr. Penguin, used to always make me into a monkey suit for the event, and I always enjoyed doing that. You were born and raised in Jamaica, correct?
That is correct.
And you've got an interesting story on how you got here. I do want to talk to you about some of your author work and some of the things that you have done along those lines in just a moment. But born and raised in Jamaica, you don't swim.
Ah.
I looked
I
it
am
up.
so proud of you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Typically, I'm asked the questions,
Yeah.
but I love that you're providing the answers,
Yeah.
and then I can elaborate on that. But yes, ironically, for someone that was raised on an island surrounded by water,
Yeah.
I love the beach. Ever since I was a kid, we would go to the beach every Sunday. But I'm just a splasher, and I posted a picture on Facebook the other day, and it was like you could see on top of the water and under the water, and that's like my foot, just like a cartoon image. And I'm like, this is what I mean when I say I'm going swimming, you know. So I'm bent down, and but I'm loving it. I love the water.
That's. I mean, it reminded me of me because I don't like that. I can do it, but I just don't like to. So the beach is a place that I do terribly enjoy, though. You got to Kentucky. You met your husband though in Nashville, but he's a local boy.
Yes, he's a small town boy, and I'm a city gal, But I moved here because he owns Lupilaries, and it was easier for me to come because he has to be in the day-to-day operation,
Right.
And I'm just one of them that bloom where I'm planted. And he was kind of concerned about me, like, taking me out of the city of Nashville to the city of Paducah. I was not worried one bit, and I'm having a blast.
Great, that is fantastic. Danette Turner is with us, who is Miss Petite Kentucky, and will be competing for the national title coming up this July in Chicago. Have you been to Chicago?
Never.
Oh,
not yet. So I'm excited for that.
Fun town there, for sure. Your platform is an amazing platform. It has some tear-jerking moments to it, for sure, but it is one that shows a lot of resolve, a lot of bravery, and you definitely understand the way that people feel a lot of times and that are in hard situations, correct?
Definitely. So, I'm a domestic violence survivor. I left when I was 7 months pregnant, and to this day I do a lot of speaking events and still tear up, when I have to relive that moment. But in the midst of it, I questioned God, like, why am I going through this? And I did not realize that He was creating a purpose through my pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am, I mean, if I had to go back through it to be able to advocate the way I am right now, I would, just because nobody else can understand your situation when you're going through domestic violence than someone that has walked the walk. And, now I'm not just an advocate, but I'm a voice for the voiceless. So I wrote a book called Leave Alive, and the subtitle is Goodbye Domestic Violence. And in that book, I used my experience not just to tell a story, but to create a guide for those who are currently experiencing domestic violence, that they can identify those signs to look for and know when to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you.
We've had some folks from domestic violence centers on here to speak on their organizations. And I think the one thing that keeps coming back is that the victim ends up being so loyal that they just can't get away because of that loyalty factor. Is that the way that you see it as well?
There's a thing called trauma bond, and where when you get into those relationships, it all starts out like a fairy tale. It's exactly what you wish life to be with your partner. You're love bombed by that person, and it took me a while to even know what these terms mean, like dealing with a narcissist. What's a narcissist? And so now we're hearing that word more often. Love bombing is another word, and trauma bond. And so it's a combination of those things where you're manipulated, you're controlled, but before they get to that stage, they give you what you want. And so they create a trauma bond. And so now you feel, you feel this love that you've so long desired.
Mm-hmm.
And now you think that's the love that you're getting, but it was really to just reel you in and to keep you in a trap.
Do they realize they're doing this as the aggressor? Do they realize this, or is this something that maybe is a vicious cycle that has happened in their life as well?
They're absolutely aware of what is happening. It's definitely a psychological problem, but they have gotten to where they are the masterminds. Like you practice something to where you become the master of it, and so they know that in order to reel you in, they have to love bomb you. So they listen to you, they listen to the relationships that didn't work out and why they didn't work out, and they present you with every reason as to why this is the relationship for you, because they're going to give you everything that you never got, but they're just going to do that for the beginning stage of that relationship. They cannot pretend too long.
And I think that we all, if we have entered into any love at any point, that whirlwind part of it, where that everything is just glory, it's just roses and blooms, and that's, you're saying, that's when they pile that on, and then that's when you get stuck.
That's where the trauma bond starts building, because you're like, oh, nobody doesn't love me this way.
Yeah.
This is what I've longed for. And so now when you're seeing the red flags and you're experiencing the trauma, you kind of feel bonded and loyal, as you mentioned, because you've gotten some of what you wanted, but now you're also mixing it with things that are not so desirable.
So with your book, where can people purchase this?
So it's available locally in my store at Finders Keepers Thrift Boutique. If you're in Paducah or surrounding cities, you can come to the store and grab a signed copy. Also, it's available on Amazon, so they could just look it up, Leave Alive.
Finders Keepers, where is that located?
2761 West Park Drive in Paducah. So it's in West Park Village, right off Hinkville Road, behind the Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay, so just go out past the mall, and when you see the Dunkin' Donuts there, that as you're going out of Paducah, it would be on your left-hand side.
Correct.
And then just back in behind in that West Park Village there. That's a lovely little area right over there.
Thank you. It's very prime.
Yeah.
We get a lot of travelers that are, going from Kansas to Georgia. We're right off the exit, so it's super ideal. They're stopping in Paducah for lunch and looking for, a hobby or something to do while they're there.
It's amazing how the mall, and forgive me, I've been around since that place was built, but to see how everything continues to push
Outwardly,
out toward the west there, it's really, really amazing. So, what else should we know about you, and then also about this Miss Petite Kentucky and Miss Petite USA?
Well, I just want to use my platform to educate people. I have a talk show and podcast. It's called Voice Thoughts, talk show and podcast, and it's all society-based topics. We're getting ready for season 4. I've interviewed the mayor of Paducah twice on there, and Jenny Hines, who is now a judge when she was campaigning. Sure. We, former NFL player George Wilson, and my gosh, yes, doing great things. And we talk about DEI initiatives. So I'm on a few boards, the Paducah Diversity Advocacy Board, and I just want people to know that you all have a purpose. You just got to find that purpose, and sometimes finding that purpose is through your pain. So if you're listening to us right now, you're listening to me right now, and you're going through something, and you're questioning God, like, why am I going through this? He is trying to cultivate your purpose, because your purpose is going to be bigger than you. It's going to be bigger than your circumstances. It's going to help somebody else.
You are a mother as well, correct?
I am.
Just one, or how many do you have?
I have a daughter. Her name is Sahila London, and she is amazing.
Does that name mean something in Jamaica?
Yes, well, not Jamaica.
Jamaica? Okay.
I thought you did your research on that, but I wouldn't be,
Got a little close,
no. So the word Sahila is Persian and Arabic origin, and it means the brightest star in the sky. I was very intentional when I named her that. I had the name years before I had a daughter or got pregnant. I met this lady while I was working in Jamaica at Sandals Resort. And I was on the beach, we get to introduce ourselves to the guest that comes for a vacation.
Sure.
I met this lady, and her name was Sahila. And I said, I've never heard that name. It's unique. She told me the meaning. I went home, did my research, and I said, whenever I have a little girl, that's going to be her name.
That's a beautiful name, and one I've not heard either, but man, I almost got it. I was close. I knew it had to have a meaning behind it, so that is good. When you go to represent Kentucky in Chicago, what is it that you're expecting? What is it that this event will entail?
So it is a 3 to 4 day event from July 9 to 12. We'll stay on the hotel premises, and there is like a costume contest that we participate in. That's optional. So I'm definitely looking for someone that, if you're listening right now, I need someone that does quilting. Because I have an idea for my costume. You need to have a state costume, and I think with us having the National Quilt Museum here, I'm fervently searching for someone to help create my costume from quilt. So we have that. We have the preliminaries, and then of course we have the big competition. We are also interviewed as part of our score. And,
well, you'll make 100 on that.
Well, thank you.
I was thinking, costume-wise, a horse is probably not a good idea, even though the Kentucky Derby would be one of our things.
True.
A bottle of bourbon probably wouldn't be the best idea.
Unless I could get somebody to make me into a bottle of bourbon where I could just go into it and go on stage. Yeah. But you're right. There's a couple of things. It could be KFC,
basketball.
A
basketball
UK, or So.
but I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think with the quilt and also representing the part of the state that you're from as well in Paducah, and that being the Quilt City USA. So that's really very interesting. So will it be a televised program? How does that work?
It will be live streamed. So if you're out there, you want to follow my journey, I have a public figure page, which is Danette Mahabeer-Turner, DANETTEMAHABEER Turner. And then I have a separate page for Mrs. Kentucky Petite USA 2025. On those pages, I will be sharing the links once they're released to us, where people can just click the link and watch the competition live. I know a few friends of mine are planning like a bus trip from Paducah to Chicago for the competition, and I know another community member who is planning a send-off party with the community for me. So that is really sweet.
it will be something when you're on the stage and you can hear and possibly see those folks that are.
It's
are behind
showtime,
it.
baby.
Yeah. Now, have you done any of this? You haven't done any yet, right? Will this be
The
really
pageant?
first? Yeah.
No. So yes, I've never done a national pageant here in America, but I've done the Miss 333 Jamaica. I've done a lot of pageants back home,
Okay.
and then I did represent Jamaica in the World Championships of Performing Arts in Los Angeles. So I represented my country against 60 other countries and walked away with gold medals and overall division winner, industry award, and so that wasn't a pageant, but it was a competition for talent, singing and modeling as well.
So singing and modeling, was that what
That's
you?
correct.
That was that, and oh my! Well, who knew? What did you sing?
Well, I did an original song, and then they had like different genres. I did reggae music as well.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
That is really, really neat. We are peeling back some layers here. I don't know that we're going to be able to pull them all back in time for the show to end, but tell me something else I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you now. I think I've told it all. I mean,
If I pulled it all out of you in,
you did a very good job.
23 minutes, I've done well. And she's got her video recorded
so, yeah, we'll
over
put
here.
it up on YouTube or something. I think I tried to tell you a lot, and that was good. I guess that's a good practice for my upcoming interview. I think they only give us 3 minutes.
Well,
so, hey.
Again, remember, I am a former Tater Day pageant MC, so we didn't have the interview portion, but I think I could have handled that. We could have done that.
You did good.
We appreciate you being here today, Danette, and before this comes up, we want you to come back. Are there any fundraising opportunities or anything like that to help?
Yes. So I have a GoFundMe. The cost to nationals is super, super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally like this part of it, but if you're out there, I have a QR code that's on the flyer. That's on Holly's page. It's on my pages. There is a link to the GoFundMe. Nothing is too big. Nothing is too small to help with the journey. It's a lot of money for even just the pageant fee by itself, plus finding my gown and just everything that it takes to get to national to represent the entire state. And so I'm just trying to build awareness using this platform to, be a voice for the voiceless and a hope, for the hopeless.
I hope that you come home as champion of the United States there in this category. It's been lovely to meet you. We wish you and your husband the best with Loopy Larry's and also with
Finders Keepers
Thrift Store, which is, again, in West Park Village. Loopy Larry's, location on that.
3160 Parisa Drive, and that's Paducah as well. You could use Little Caesars as a landmark. It's right across from the fire station where Burrito Shack used to be.
Understand? So. Yeah. Okay. That gives you a little bit of a better direction. That's kind of over in the old Party Mart area as well. Paxton Park, not too far away.
Not right. So Banterra Bank, all that area right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
And thank you all for the coffee.
Hey, yeah.
It's
Well,
coffee hour.
we try to do our best with that for sure. Again, Danette, we appreciate you being here. Good luck, and again, come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Coffee Call here this morning. Thanks for listening. This is WCBL.